Could try something silly. I'm not overthinking it. Very faint lines. All right. Let's make some small adjustments. Got like a coloring book here now. Gonna just dab thin red in the coloring book areas. Got a chunky right there. I hate that. So we're just kind of like framed out of like a kind of a ghostly skull. I'm just using shit paint that's still on the palette. And I'm using mostly stippling technique. Like so. Just little dots, like pointillism. Keeping it really thin, using just the tip of my brush. We're just kind of blending it into the axe. Like so. Ah, it for real! Chaos Kev loving that pop resin paint job. Let me get some love right there for Chaos Kev with that 3x multiplier. Love minis. Can you give Chaos Kev 69 bonus yo dogs? The greatest mod in the game. Love minis. And let me get some strong man love in the chat. Thank you, Chaos Kev. Thank you, Sid for game. Repray. Freehand is kind of like a misleading term because like that indicates I did anything. I just did a bunch of little dots. It's like really if you try to draw it, that's kind of where it falls apart on you. I'm gonna grab some orange, white. I'm gonna desaturate this orange with some white. There's already red on my brush. What we're doing is we're just doing like pointillism, okay? Little dots. This little shit off my brush. Keeping it kind of thin, kind of diluted. Don't get too attached to what you're doing. We're just doing some dots. Setting up a brighter value so we can glaze it. Very simple. If you don't have at least a basic ability to draw a skull, this might be hard for you, but like we didn't do anything here. You know what I'm saying? If you can figure out how to draw a skull in like 10 lines, you can do this. I swear to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I do it all the time. Like you know, if you can't do something like that, like really fast, like and then expand upon that, this might be tricky. So we let it dry. We took our time. Great praises. Hell no, I'm not drawing a Chaos Star if it's not sculpted on. That's a Chaos Star. Chaos Star is rigid and has straight lines. This is a skull that you've never seen before, so you can forgive me for anything that's wrong. You've seen a Chaos Star before. So anything that's off, you won't forgive it. So that's why I try to avoid that kind of shit. Okay, we're gonna grab a little bit of red. Kind of mixing it with our desaturated orange. Keeping it really thin. And now what we're gonna do is kind of work a mid-tone. We're gonna go a little harder down here, a little bit more off the rails. As you can see. A little bit crazier, a little crazier up here. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Second pass, third pass. I don't know what pass we're on. Solid self-defense. I like it. Reappraise this. Grab a little bit more of our desaturated orange. That's why certain things are harder to paint in real life. Like the reason like painting white scars in like Black Templar is hard is because people know it's black, it's white. So any decision you make that's not those and it's not what they've seen before, criticism. You see what I'm saying? Like that's why certain things are always trickier to sell people in. And they're off. Stipple, stipple, stipple. See, we've been doing a lot of this type of stippling on this model. This is just similar to the weathering we've been doing. As you can see. Not much different here. Just reinforcing some of these features. Kind of like the Diablo logo, the old Diablo logo. Okay, let's grab a little mediocre. Mediocre. Let's add it to our desaturated mix. Kind of yellow it up a little bit. More white. Okay, get some of that moisture off the fucking brush. It's crazy. Nipple time. Now we're just going to do some wily ass stippling up top here. Down here. Take some of that ochre. Get a new pile of ochre going. Set it down, grab a little white, whiten up the ochre. So this is much more yellow now in nature. Get it real thin. Go down here and be a little bit more deliberate. So now you can leave it rough like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to go a little harder, you can. You can smooth it out. Here's some black. We're using that to make the black opaque in the eyes because it's still very much showing through reds from the under coat. Now we're going to stipple in a stronger sense of line art. Pop the contrast from the other direction now. This gives us an opportunity to carve up any lines we don't like. A little bit of editing. Now you have an opportunity to do something kind of fun with the eyes. So I'm going to grab some Eldritch Blue with our black. Get a little bit of a wisp of the same eye color that we used on the demon prints. It's almost like it's demon trapped in the weapon is what's possessing him. As you can see, coming out pretty cool. Grab a little bit more of the blue now. Gonna tie it back to our main dude. Stipple it in. So, a little white. One last little collection of stipples. Want to fight it? You don't want to fight it? JT does. Thanks, brother. There we go. Now we've got those eyes looking sick. Dimborg, thank you for the follow. So now you can choose to smooth anything out you decide to. Like, you can do anything here. Like, you can leave it just like that. You don't have to fuck with it. It looks good. Trust me, it's tiny and it conceals itself. But if you wanted to breathe some saturation into some areas, smooth out some of the lines, same protocol as before. You just thin the paint down. I'm going to take some pure red. I'm going to play with that for a second. And with the pure red, what I want to do is see if I can up that redness factor in some of these lines. And this is going to go on like a glaze, confidently blurring some of the mid-tone. To ramp him up, and that's what it's doing, is that's blurring some of that stippling too. So he's a lot smoother suddenly. And right up here against his black border, you can smooth that out and fade it more too. Oh yeah, something like that. Not gonna overthink it. About all I want to do on them. So what I do want is I want to edge highlight this joint. I'm gonna take some of that kind of white orange we made earlier. And what I'm gonna do is I want to get a nice crisp line going here. We use hold your breath, swing it from right to left. Frame it now. Get that line looking sharp. Like so. It's like a little hitch in his sculpt right there. Soften that a little bit. There we go. What's in the Creature Cat starter box? Torsion. One of them is paint brush themed, one is paint themed, and one is a sample pack. So you can expect one of them to have a little bit of everything, like a paint, a brush, some of the soap, some other stuff maybe. You can expect one to be like more loaded up. The brush pack is like a $33 value. The Jen's brush crate. That's a $33. That's like a $33 or $35 value. So we're giving close to $100 away MSRP. But there you go, guys. That's the freehand video. Diablo 2 artwork. And then that's this side right here. So we did the lattice work last week. We did this week. 2 different tutorials. Which is pretty cool. Which I like that, like, the more interesting one is on the back. Because now you're like, oh, that's sick. And then it's like, wait, what the fuck's going on back there? It's like, hey, bitch. It's